Hi, ever wonder what it's like to work another profession or live in the underworld? Listen to unsuspecting riders give a 10 to 15 minute personal masterclass as I spontaneously interview them as they enter my taxi. I'm your host, Simon Rushton, and this is Taxi Chronicles. Morning. Yes, we're back with another rider, another episode. Today we have the very joyful, happy Michael in the car. He's in the IT business. I'll let him tell his official title because I'll probably get it wrong. But nice to have you here today, Michael.
Thank you.
So first question is, what do you do?
So I am a business analyst.
Okay,
Yes.
What is that?
Now, a business analyst is somebody that looks at various processes within an organization and also looks at the scenarios, challenges and breaks that we often experience in companies and makes them more efficient and better and more focused on what customers or clients on the end receive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you seem like a very outgoing person.
Mm-hmm.
I have to ask you, what kind of person were you when you were in school?
So being in school, it was mostly surrounded by different groups of individuals. So one of the best things about London is that you meet so many diverse individuals from different backgrounds. So you may be from Tooting or Croydon or Shoreditch, and you may be of one particular demographic. You could be black, white, Indian, Chinese, East Asian, West Asian. It doesn't matter where you are. The only thing that matters is the environment that you're surrounded by. So I was brought up in an environment that was a cooking pot of Caribbean, African, really affluent, middle class white, and then really kind of like working class white as well. And we all got along. We all kind of understood one another.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And your personality, were you an introvert, extrovert?
I would say,
like sports?
I would say fairly introverted, but also someone that read quite a bit. And at the same time, I was grown around, how do you say it, the Windrush generation?
Yeah.
The Black Caribbeans that came over to the United Kingdom during World War II and helped rebuild this country because it needed to be rebuilt. And they had different learned experiences. If you were Trinidadian or if you were from Jamaica, doesn't matter where you were from, the main aspects were that they all got together and they worked together, and they also were surrounded by the Irish and the English in the nursing homes, etc. So they all got together and just worked to build the United Kingdom, which therefore meant that mannerism and that ability to build were the people that grew me.
When did you decide you wanted to be in IT business consultancy?
Didn't. Believe it or not, I used to be a salesperson. I used to be the guy in Curry's selling washing machines, selling TVs, and selling like anything you can imagine. And because you're in that environment, salespeople are beautiful for this. They like to see positives in things. If you ever have friends that are salespeople, you can achieve anything, because to a salesperson, there is no such thing as a negative. There's always, oh, this is what you're doing. This is how I can help. Yeah. And
they like to take on a challenge.
Yeah, it's like they to be a good salesperson, you have to know the people that you're talking to. You need to relate to that.
Understand your audience.
Yeah, you need to understand that audience. You need to recognize that person. Apologies. That person is someone that carries more value than just an interface to talk to.
Okay. What was the educational? So, all right. So you said you did the sales.
Yeah.
But how did you transfer? What happened?
Well, one of the things that is kind of covertly black is that we never talk about our backgrounds and our successes as much. And my family from Trinidad, They're headmasters, they're also consultants, they're architects, and because we have that drive to progress, it kind of drags people like me that was comfortable in cells into a whole new world where we then ended up in university. And then once you're in university, one of the things you realize is people do care. It's more optimistic. It's more like-minded individuals that want to know why, and that why could be anything. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And if you get the ability to just sit down and just go to one of those educational facilities, I went to Brunel, fantastic university, but when you meet other individuals that come from all around the globe, Turkey, Spain, even down the road, or Uxbridge, or wherever, each one of those people will interact with you and see you on an educational level and on an equal level. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? Whereas in your own local area, we can sometimes only see the negatives and only want to just make do with what we have. Yeah. It's a bit easy. You could easily just be the guy that just wants to sit down and, smoke something and watch TV, or you could be the guy that just wants to make a small difference or a difference to others. And
what was the education route you chose?
The educational route I chose was went through school, went through college.
How many GCSEs?
I had like 8, but to be fair, you could have done it with 4. Yeah, C's and above, but I did fail English, believe it or not. And then I went back and redone it.
Okay.
Yeah, I redone it a bit later. But went through that college, went to an adult college instead of the standard college.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you do at college?
Computer studies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why did you do that?
Well, one of the challenges that we all face is that if you're in college and you just stay in like the standard normal college, it's like, there's people my own age. But when you start going to college with people that are a bit older, that have families, that have kids, their drive is a little bit different. Go to an adult college and then you get to be inspired by them. And yeah.
When I was in uni, my degree, it was mainly all adults.
Really?
Yeah, there's like 150 of us, and the lecture theatre at first. And there's probably about 6 of us that were like late teens, early 20s. I went to construction specialists.
Nice.
So everybody was like kids, real mature. The average age was probably late 30s.
Okay.
Yeah, they weren't playing around.
They don't, do they?
It's serious, man.
Yeah, and their dramas aren't the same. Like, you meet someone...
They're real issues.
Yeah.
There's no trivial, there's no... And even because we have a lot of young people come from overseas. So we had a guy come from Barbados, his parents had paid loads of money, and he said, "You know how much my parents pay for me to be here? I do not have time to be in a team with somebody who doesn't want to pull their weight."
Exactly. It's only when you truly understand the sacrifices that the previous generation made to get you to where you are, do you truly appreciate where you need to be so that your next generation doesn't suffer the same consequences that you are suffering. It's through progress.
Okay. So throughout your working experience, what kind of person do you need to be to do the job you do?
Inquisitive, thick-skinned.
Why thick-skinned?
Because your mind will get the better of you.
How so?
When you're surrounded by extremely intelligent individuals with the same drive as you, it's kind of like crabs in a barrel. Everybody wants to be at the top, but only the best can actually get there. And for some, they do it in a very positive manner, and for others, they do it in a very negative manner. So you have to learn to understand the reason why you're experiencing rejection or obstruction is down to the fact that the other person in front of you has their own aims and objectives, and you need to meet that so that you can achieve full business change. And my role is about achieving the most positive business change aspect in an environment where people are happy doing absolutely nothing to progress that organization. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. So
I hear you saying. So, what would you say you've learned that you wish you knew when you started?
Oh, interesting. There was a Nigerian chap that I spoke to, and I wish I'd learned there's two. There was one that was my first ever manager in sales, and he said, people aren't mushrooms, they do not grow in the dark. So the first thing that I would always try and do when I was younger is communicate. Communicating to others is one of the best tools that you can ever use. It's the ability to not only absorb but also give. Okay. The second thing is the Nigerian chap told me, and he's really, really intelligent. His name's David. He was like, Mike, never stop studying. And it's really hard to not.
That's definitely Nigerian thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you think about it, every year he's one of the few people that has turned around and said, I do something different each year. And he's now like a program director. Every year he's doing like an MCSE, he's done his MBA, he does qualifications that you would assume that he doesn't need to do. Example, you're a program director. Why do you need to learn Microsoft Azure or SQL? And he's like, well, if I'm employing someone to do that work, then by all means, I should learn what they do before I do it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Last question is, what's the impact you want to have in the world?
The impact I want to have on the world is that I can turn around and know that I've achieved and inspired others in different ways. So whether it's in the environment that I'm in the organization from a positive aspect to make sure that all the people in different business functions feel they've been listened to and their information has been carried out to make the company better, or in a personal life to leave a positive imprint on the people that I interact with, because we've got one life, right? And each day we live, if we do a little bit of good, then we've inspired somebody.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, thanks a lot for that, and we wish you well.
Thank you.
We hope you liked that interview. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to get the latest daily episode. Ever considered investing in the continent with the fastest growing economy and population on Earth? The same continent that holds 30% of the world's known natural resources? Then listen to our sister podcast, Africa Investor Stories, where you will hear real investors with real stories from around the world share their experience of investing in Africa. We post Monday and Thursday at 10 a.m.